Please welcome Simon Marcotte, President and CEO of Northern Superior Resources. Northern Superior is a Canadian junior exploration company engaged in the acquisition, exploration, and development of gold properties in Ontario and Quebec.
Hey, how are you, Steven? You're here. There we go.
Perfect.
They tell us ahead of time.
Great. Well, thanks for having this fireside chat. This is good to see you up here. So,
Thanks for having me.
I want to start off. You guys recently completed a financing with strong insider support and participation. So, can you give a little bit of background on that and who's behind the company?
Sure. So yeah, we did just last week. We closed financing, $8 million, which was upsized from 7. It was good demand, all institutional. It was led by Cormark Securities. Yeah, good insider participation, as you mentioned. So we bought about $1 million ourselves out of the 8. Insiders and management of the company own currently about 25% of the company. So we have written a lot of checks, and we continue to do so. The people involved with the company you were asking, I think that matters a lot. Victor Cantore from Amex, Executive Chairman. That's the Perron project, one of the biggest wins in recent years. Michael Gentile, also Director, largest shareholder, extremely involved. If you don't know Michael Gentile yet, you should get with the program. Many call him the next Eric Sprott. I think he has a lot of time to surpass that. Also a big shareholder of the company who vended the Philibert property, Mr. Frank Guillemette from Quebec. So he owns a large part of the company as well. And if you're looking for a good trade here at the company, ladies, he's single. You may have to pay for the first date because he's under lockup for a while. But
4 months plus a day, and then
no, it's more than that. No, but we're all extremely passionate with the program. We're an excellent team. On the execution front, we have Adri DeLazer from Detour. We have Rodney from Barrick, Andrew from so we're very invested and quite excited about what's ahead.
Yeah, that's a great support to see along the way as well. Like you said, great alignment between the team and the project advancing.
100%.
So that's a good lead into the project itself. So you guys are consolidating the Chibougamau Gold Camp. So you give a little bit of a high-level overview of your strategy, and then maybe dive into the assets quickly.
Sure. Steven, you know me. You know all this probably better than me. But from the window I'm looking out, and the way I look at the gold space, even in recent years where things were tough, there were really 3 big gold destinations that were attracting attention, attracting capital, and stocks performing well. I would say you had Guyana, Yukon, and Finland, right? In Guyana, that's where you have G2, Reunion, Aris, Omai. You're looking probably together at 20 million ounces. Then you have Yukon, 2 camps there. That one is larger. That's where you have Western, White Gold, and several others altogether. The main camps probably have 30 million ounces. And then Finland was performing very well too, where you have Agnico, Rupert, right? In recent years did very well, and you have about 12 million ounces there. Well, the Chibougamau Gold Camp is just on the cusp of joining that group, I think, because already you're looking at about 10 million ounces altogether, and all these deposits are actually much closer to one another than these other camps that I've been talking about. So there was one problem, though, is that all these deposits were owned by different companies.
Right.
And all of this needs to be under one roof. It needs to be consolidated so that you can design a unified operation, because all these deposits should really feed the same mill, right? So already you've got about 10 million ounces altogether, and that was the core of our strategy, was to consolidate that camp. And if you go back just 3 years ago, all these deposits were owned by 6 different companies. And now fast forward to today, there's only 2 companies involved. It is us and it is IAMGOLD. IAMGOLD has the Nelligan project, which was the discovery of the year back in 2019, which has good size. You're looking at just shy of 6 million ounces now. They also have Monster Lake, underground potential a bit to the north, with very high grade, so that trucks well to bring it to the core area. We have the Philibert project, which is only 9 kilometers away from Nelligan. So Philibert, is it a standalone project with the upside that we can provide? Yeah, potentially. But that's not the idea. The idea is really to end up putting the whole thing together somehow. So if you look at Philibert versus Nelligan, we're only 9 kilometers away, right? So if you put a mill in between, you're at 4.5 kilometers. Well, that's basically 4.5 kilometers, basically the pit size of Nelligan. It's basically the pit size of Philibert. So it really, put things in perspective, that all of this really deserves to be the same operation. We also have L'Extraprise, which is the extension of Nelligan. It adds about 1.4 kilometer of mineralization to Nelligan. We have Chevrier that provides, it's a huge, huge system, so that gives you big expansion. So what we have now in the camp is about, together about 10 million ounces. But with the money we just raised and the activity that we're gonna do over the next 7 to 8 months, combined with the fact that now IAMGOLD is turning its attention and turning resources and capital towards Chibougamau as well. And if you look into their last results, the MD&A, they gave an update about what they're doing. So they're currently drilling on Nelligan, Monster Lake, and Anik, which is on the same trend as Philibert. So with the work that they are doing and the work that we are about to start, I am convinced that within 18 months that camp is going to be red hot, because that camp can get very quickly to 15 million ounces plus. And now you're part of these major camps that I was talking about, and you're just, not much more needs to be done to bring it all together, and there's plenty of ways to do that. There's so much value to be created that you can trust the mining industry to find a way to put it together, right? So, and also the ounces that we have, I would argue, increase the value of the camp. Because Philibert has a higher grade than Nelligan. So although Nelligan is bigger right now, the grade of Philibert is higher. So if you start by mining Philibert, you're going to lower your payback period significantly. And that is the main metric, as you know, to decide which mines get funded and which one doesn't. So we're quite excited about what we're putting together. We're going to be very active in the months ahead. So and I would say, like, it's very interesting drilling too, right? IAMGOLD went from 3.5 million ounces to 5.5 million ounces only with 20,000 meters of drilling.
Wow, very
and there's a lot more than that coming.
So that's maybe a good lead into what is ahead immediately for Northern Superior, and maybe for IAMGOLD too over the next, call it, 12 to 18 months here. Where do you see this evolving?
Yeah, so IAMGOLD, they said they're drilling currently at Nelligan, Monster Lake, and Anik. I think in total, this year alone, they'll do somewhere between 15 and 20,000 meters. With the money we raised, we can afford to do about 20 to 25,000 meter ourselves. And you have a new resource calculation coming at Monster Lake that was in IAMGOLD's MD&A. We are surely looking to do another resource update, especially at Philibert. And it's very accretive activity that you're going to see, right? Because, well, we are currently valued at about $23 per ounce in the ground. I will point out that just recently, IAMGOLD acquired Vanstar in that area. So Vanstar was the joint venture partner on Nelligan. So IAMGOLD bought that. So that's another indication that they're turning their attention toward the camp. In the press release announcing this transaction, the CEO of IAMGOLD, Renaud Adam, mentioned that their focus obviously is on Côté in Ontario, no doubt. But once Côté is on cruise control, they'll give a lot of cash flow to reinvest somewhere else in Canada.
Definitely.
Well, it looks like this is the somewhere else, right? So we're trading at $23 per ounce in the ground. They bought Vanstar for $41 per ounce in the ground. And when we drill at Philibert, the last drilling program that we did, we found ounces at less than $3 per ounce in the ground. And we're confident we can keep adding ounces very, very cheaply, around $6, $7, definitely below 10. So, we raise money, we dilute at $23 with the financing to add ounces at below $10. And I would say $40 per ounce in the ground that IAMGOLD paid for Vanstar. Still very cheap. I mean, for a camp that's viable, $100 an ounce is not a stretch at all, right? So, like I said, I think that camp within months is going to become pretty hot.
Yeah, certainly IAMGOLD coming into a lot of cash to accelerate the ounces in the whole neighborhood, which, as you mentioned, is good for yourselves as well. And capital efficiency and scale are certainly important when it comes to developing these brand new camps.
100%.
And just lastly here, you recently spun out the Ontario assets. Can you maybe speak a little bit around the rationale around that and kind of what's ahead for that portfolio?
Yeah, definitely. So we did a spin out of our Ontario assets. The company is newly listed. It's called OnGold, or Ontario Gold. I'll point out that we did not distribute those shares, right? So Northern Superior still owns 72% of OnGold, right? Ultimately, for sure, there's always a good opportunity to do the right thing. We can eventually dividend out those shares to the shareholders. But it's not something we wanted to do right now. It's a new listing. The company is not liquid. If we distribute those shares, it'll hurt the stock price. So this OnGold company, newly listed with the financing at 51 cents a share, the stock's trading around 70 cents. And it has the famous TPK project. So TPK is the largest gold and teal anomaly in North America and potentially the world. So that's just small grain of gold that's in the ground. We feel pretty confident that we've identified the source of this. There's drilling that came out 25 grams over 13 meters.
Wow.
So it really has a legion of followers people are highly passionate with this project, and that was the reason why we did a spin-off, right? Because the company, we couldn't chase too many things at once. We needed someone that had we needed a company that had its own capital, that had its own management team. And when it comes to Ontario, I'll say this. So TPK is not different from the rest of Northern Ontario. Everything is about the First Nations and the social acceptability and doing the right thing with the local communities. It is very difficult, and there's a lot of issues in Northern Ontario. So what we've done, and the OnGold company we put together, we realize that. And we know that 90% of the value of the project is based on not the geology, but with social acceptability and the relationship with the local community. Right. So if you look at the management we put in place, the CEO is Kyle Stanfield. He's the guy who permitted Rainy River, interestingly, discovered the same way, permitted Musselwhite, has very good relationship with a lot of different communities, and he was able to convey that we mean what we say when we say that we want to really make the local communities our partners. The chairman of the company is Mr. John Kim Bell, who is Indigenous himself. He was actually born on the South Shore of Montreal. His life story is absolutely amazing. I'm going to invite you to read his bio. So Mr. Bell started as a musician, as a conductor, became a conductor of the Toronto Orchestra, then became a conductor on Broadway, toured the world with rock bands like the Bee Gees and that sort of thing. Moved to the corporate side of things, handled the First Nation affairs for companies like Hatch and Glencore. He sits on the board of many very high-profile entities, such as Ontario Chamber of Commerce, Canadian Broadcasting Corporation comes to mind. And then he went into philanthropy, raising money. He sent tens of thousands of indigenous kids to college. So, a very colorful career, and he's now chairman of the company, because really what we envision for On Gold is to do the right thing when it comes to social acceptability, and then take advantage of projects that can be very cheap because they are in bad situations because of
Definitely
that.
an asset to have that sort of gateway and access.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Simon. We're out of time here, but I
Alrighty.
really appreciate the
Okay.
chat and letting us all know about Northern Superior's path forward.
I'll keep you posted.
Great.
Thank you very much.
You.
All right, thank you.